Welcome back, everybody. We're back with the Working Brother, and this time we've got Cinnamon Bridges, also known as Peter, here with us from Tweed Street, Scotland. Tweed Street, Scotland. That's a tongue twister, almost. How you doing, Peter?
I'm good. I'm good, working brother. Thanks very much for having me on. And it's good to connect.
Thank you for reaching out. Yeah, I was gonna say, everybody who doesn't know me or doesn't know him, he was a subscriber of mine on Telegram, and he just left a comment and was like, "Hey, look, this is what I do. I wanna talk to you," and I hit him up, and now we're talking. So here we are. Tell us
Yes,
about Tweet Street. Tell us about yourself, Peter. You're from Scotland. Where in
yes,
Scotland?
I'm from Scotland. I live in a place called
Scotland, I'm
Kilmarnock.
sorry, mate. I'm sorry. I went to a British school. I can talk like this as well. I just prefer not to. It's a little more stressful on the facial muscles.
I will. I was finding it hard to understand you there with the Scottish accent. Because you'll probably find that most people will say in Scotland that they're Scottish, not British. It's just one of those
It's true.
things.
It's true.
Yeah, so Tweet Street Scotland occupied was set up. Just I was homebound at the time. This was before the
Mhm.
lockdown, um, due to an injury that I still have. However, I wasn't as mobile as what I'm becoming now.
And how long ago
So
did this injury happen?
this happened about almost 5 years ago. Well, no, just over
Okay.
4 years ago. Actually, sorry, 2017, I believe.
So
2008.
a year and a half before COVID, something like that. Everything is now
Yeah,
before or after COVID.
yeah. So it was before COVID, and then the lockdown started
Mhm.
um, for the COVID situation that we were all forced to lock down for.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm a Scottish independence supporter, so it was a case of I wanted to keep the chatty Scottish independence going as our First Minister, which we'll come on to talk about a wee bit later, seemed to want to do anything but Scottish independence.
Yeah.
So it was a way of communicating the fact that there are people that are interested in Scottish independence, that are
You
interested in
guys had a
chatting about it.
referendum recently, isn't that correct? Or you had two, maybe even, or
Well,
was there only
no,
talk of a second one?
there's been talk of a second one for 8 years since the
So it's
first
been
one in
8 years since the
2014.
first one,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah, 2014. The result came back not disputed by anybody in authority of 45%, of which I was one of the 45 percenters to vote in
Uh,
favour of Scottish independence. But
yeah.
again, can you trust referenda now? Can you trust?
No, absolutely not. I don't trust it. Like as a Serb watching the thing happen from abroad, like I was like, no, like there's no chance of any kind of possible, what can I say, honesty, truth.
Especially when you're trying to escape from the empire of the UK government.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like you're on their island, like you know.
or they're on ours. Let's not split hairs
Oh,
here.
sorry, I meant to say you're on the same island. My bad, but I see how you might see it as your island. Like I actually went to British school, so I know a little bit about British or English or UK or Scottish to some extent history. Plus, I've seen a few movies and whatnot. You know, Braveheart and all.
Everybody's seen Braveheart, haven't they? So they believe that everybody's the same as Braveheart. There's a there's a fair few of us. Let's put it that way. There's a fair few of us who are
Mm-hmm.
Bravehearts. I don't include the First Minister in that. Nicola Sturgeon, I don't
Yeah.
include her in that because for 8 years that she's been the First Minister, she was the Deputy First Minister when Alex Salmond was First Minister. Um, he managed to get is a referendum with one mandate, 6 MPs. Nicola Sturgeon's had 6 mandates, up to 56 MPs, 2015. So it's as if she's chicken-hearted rather than brave-hearted. That's just my own personal view on it.
Yeah, chicken hawks, like in the U.S. basically. They
Well,
talk like
no.
hawks, but they're chickens.
Aye, pretty much.
Yeah.
It's a good
So yeah,
analogy, actually.
that's what the Americans call them, chicken hawks. Um, and apparently Rhino means Republican in name only, just so you know. The more you know.
Ah,
Um, in any case, since you mentioned Sturgeon, and I've got notes here, like, look, everybody, I got notes. Because we planned this ahead of time, and it's
yeah.
scripted to some extent.
Well,
um,
the topics
we
are
have to
there.
put the conspiracy theories out there so that people will want to see the scriptedness of it or something or another. This is not a factual channel, this is not a reporting channel. This, like any resemblance to reality, is just coincidental. This is all parody and satire. There's nothing like serious here. It's all conspiracy theories and imagination and like like I'm hoping that puts us past YouTube's algorithm, whatever it's called, censors or auto botting thing. So in any case, yeah, you wanted to talk about Nicola Sturgeon, and we've got some videos lined up, and the first one is about this recent event that happened with this homosexual kitty diddler plus transvestite plus I don't know. Like, you want to clue us
Well,
in before I roll the footage?
yeah, we'll call him a man, for the purpose of what
Distinguishing
we're
the
about.
sex.
Yeah,
Do you want to walk us through about what we're gonna watch, or do you want to just shock
yeah.
the audience?
Well, what we're going to watch is a report from Sky TV. A wee bit of contextual information. The First Minister and the government in Scotland had passed the Gender Recognition Reform Bill. They'd hurried it through in December, just before
What does
the
gender
20.
mean? Wait, time out. Like, I'm pretending to be stupid. What do you mean gender? What is
Well,
gender
exactly.
recognition form? What do you need to recognize about genders?
Well, the First Minister of Scotland and her cohorts believe that there is more than two sexes, and they refer to it as gender. There is a construct of gender, however, they believe that you can
Oh.
you can flip between um, the sexes. You can
It's fluid.
identify.
You can
Yeah,
change.
yeah, yeah, and there's all sorts of um, indoctrinations, shall we say, where you can be
Mhm.
born as a male and then you can identify as a female.
Yeah.
The Gender Recognition Reform Bill that they passed through the Scottish Government would mean that you could self-identify without having any cosmetic surgeries on your body, without taking
Mhm.
any um, chemical castration drugs.
So you're
Um,
saying I can identify as a pre-op transsexual just the way I am?
Absolutely. That's what they tried to pass in Scotland, and the Westminster government, the RUK government, as we would refer to them as Scottish independence supporters, um,
So
they
so time out. The Scottish say our UK government.
the Scottish independence supporters would say that RUK government.
That's the only Scots that I care about. Like the other ones are collaborators.
Oh, that's. I'm glad that
In
you
my
said that.
opinion.
I'm glad that you said that.
In any
Excuse me,
case,
I have.
so Westminster, which is the parliament of the UK government, we're like educating the people who are not, like, aware of it, right? The
Yes,
Westminster is the parliament, is how you guys called Parliament of the UK, and in the Parliament, what did you call them?
The RUK government.
Wait, is that
They
our? Is that our or RUK?
RUK government put a block on the Scottish government via Section 35 of the Scotland Act to prevent the bill that was passed in the Scottish government from coming into law, because it would affect the RUK law as well as Scottish law, and both laws are different. The Scots law and English law, or UK, as we'll say UK law for this,
Yeah.
are different. And although we share the same island, there would be loopholes that could be exploited. For instance, the video that you're about to play.
Mm-hmm. Let's go to this and play
This is
video.
the face of one of Scotland's most feared prisoners, the volatile trans inmate, now called Tiffany Scott, known before as Andrew Burns, a dangerous individual who stalked a 13-year-old schoolgirl. And it's here, at this men's prison near Glasgow, where Tiffany has spent much of their sentence. But not for much longer. Jail authorities preparing to move the criminal to an all-female unit. Something that's angered one of Nicola Sturgeon's former government ministers.
Women in prison are often...
Do we need to see the whole thing?
I think it would be best if we play it through, if I'm honest, so that...
All right. Let's just put our faces in front of it so
so
that YouTube doesn't think we're just like we can talk a little bit over
extremely
it
vulnerable.
just for
Many
the sake of the algorithm.
have been victims of male violence in their lives, and I think putting dangerous prisoners such as these into the female prison estate, it's obviously a danger to the female.
Wait, he got put into the female population in prison?
Well, there has been developments today that won't now happen.
Okay, my subscribers are going to be pissed that I'm interrupting the video. Let's play it to the end and then take it from there.
Inmates, but it's also a danger to the staff who work there, many of whom are female.
This is the police mugshot of the double rapist once known as Adam Graham, someone who transitioned to Isla Bryson while awaiting trial for those sex attacks. A predator who this week was removed from this all-female jail near Stirling after the Scottish Government intervened amid mounting anger.
This row over prisoners is running in parallel with a much wider debate around gender reforms here in Scotland. Just before Christmas, Holyrood voted overwhelmingly to make it easier for someone to change their legally recognised gender without the need for a medical diagnosis, and involving 16 and 17-year-olds for the first time, unlike in the rest of the UK.
The Scottish Prison Service said where there are any concerns about any risks posed by a prisoner, they retain the ability to keep them separate. The question is, will there be similar pressure in the case of Tiffany Scott? Pressure to halt that controversial journey to a wing full of women. Connor Gillis, Sky News.
Tiffany Scott. Like Tiffany Scott. It's like, what are you saying? What are you saying?
Yeah.
No, that's not Tiffany Scott. So, tell us, Peter.
Right. Well, the take on it in Scotland is that the Gender Recognition Reform Bill, although it's been in Scotland, it's been in the process of being changed for over 6 years. These things were not in any manifesto of the governing party in Scotland. They were hidden away at the back of literature. They weren't things that were ran on. They were the Scottish National Party, the SNP, had ran on a ticket for independence, and they have done for the past 8 years with Nicola Sturgeon at the helm, with no progress towards independence. She took a case to the Supreme Court when we were trying to have the right to a second independence referendum, and the Supreme Court ruled against it. But Nicola Sturgeon and her government are hoping to go to the European courts to ensure that the UK government can't kibosh the Gender Recognition Reform Bill. They haven't done the same for the Supreme Court decision again for independence for the INDIREF too.
When you say kibosh, what do you mean exactly kibosh?
Kibosh, put an end to, stop, halt,
Okay.
stop it passing, or to stop the UK government from interfering in the Scottish government matters. So she's wanting to go to the European Court to defend the Scottish Parliament's decision to pass the Gender Recognition Reform Bill. And again, there was no mention of self-ID, which is the videos that the clip that you've just played so far. Now that that's being made aware to the people of Scotland, that's why the uproar is happening. In the podcast that I've done for Tweet Street over the past almost 2 years now, I've been speaking about these things and trying to bring this awareness to not just the people of Scotland, but beyond.
Yeah, it's a global agenda. They're doing it everywhere, like to varying degrees. But like Qatar had to ban it for the for the football. It was like, no, we will not get like LGBTQ plus minus propaganda on the World Cup. They were just like, no, like they banned it. End of story.
Yeah, exactly. And the Western world, as you've alluded to, in Canada, this is something. I had somebody on Tweet Street, a reformed prisoner, who was in prison with transgender, as they're classed in Canada. So people who believe that they were born in the wrong body.
Reformed female prisoner, you're saying?
A reformed female prisoner, adult human female, who was in jail, and there was transgender inmates who, when she advised me, and this is coming from her, that assaults took place, sexual assaults took place in the female
You've got interviews of this on your channel, yeah? Like for subscribers to like find them, yeah?
Yep. I'll post the links in your channel also, just so that people can view and refer to them. So I've been over the past almost 2 years trying to reach out, while being pretty much locked down, being homebound at first, and then locked down along with everybody else in the Western world.
And the East,
speaking to people
and the global South. To varying lengths and degrees, but everybody was locked down.
Yeah, across the plains of Earth, I suppose. So I've been trying to raise awareness of this, while keeping the message of Scottish independence firmly on the front foot, or trying to keep it on the front foot. And now, today, in the upcoming videos that you're going to play, one of those videos, the first video was yesterday, I believe, of the First Minister just doing the playground tactics of calling everybody names. You're either a transphobe, a bigot,
an anti-vaxxer, man. You're an anti-vaxxer.
A misogynist, or a racist. And then
you're
she goes to
Hitler.
Prove that she's...
You're Putler. You're worse than Hitler. You're Putler, man.
Yeah. And then she goes on to prove, in the second video that you'll play, that she's just all of the names that she's called us the people the day before. So on this one here...
Let's play the video. Let's play the video.
People who have opposed this bill that cloak themselves in women's rights to make it acceptable, but just as they're transphobic, you will also find that they're deeply misogynist, often homophobic, possibly some of them racist as well.
My question is, are all trans women...
Okay.
Right, so on that video was all the name calling that you heard that I had described. That was yesterday. And this was an interview today this upcoming video was an interview today from Nicola Sturgeon, the First Minister of Scotland, the Scottish administration, as some would say, where she goes to either with her. I mean, if you listen to the question, and she's asked specific questions, that she then goes on to prove the video that she done, the recording that she done the day before, that she's either all of these names, or she's none of these names, along with everybody else, and she just made up those names the day before. So if you play this one through, it's short.
I can't stop. I have to comment. I can't stop smirking about the way you refer to them as the administration as opposed to the government, because, like, you know, being British, you are definitely more pedantic than I am. So, like, the word structure is not lost upon me. Let's just leave it there and play the video.
Okay. Well, before you play the video, I need to before you play the video, I need to say that
Okay.
Scottish, not British. But thanks anyway. It's Scottish.
like, do you have a Scottish passport? Like, technically, no. You don't have a Scottish passport.
Do I have a
does
passport?
It say that?
Is the question.
Okay, that's a very good question. but in general, does it say on your document that your nationality is Scottish? Is there such a nationality officially, or like ethnicity on any document paper?
I think on my birth certificate it says Scottish because I was born here. But if we're being, if you're being pedantic, because I'm not being pedantic, it is. When I did have a passport,
UK citizens get a passport that says that they're British subjects. Yes or no?
When I had a passport, it did say UK government on it. Just to answer your question.
Yeah. All right. So shall we play the video of the administration? Of the administration. TV only.
Yeah.
Here we go.
That question.
Well, that's not the point that we're dealing with here.
That's the question I'm asking.
Trans women are women, but in the prison context, there is no automatic right for a trans woman.
So there are contexts where a trans woman is not a woman?
No, there is circumstances in which a trans woman will be housed in the male prison estate.
Is there any context in which a woman born as a woman will be housed in the male estate?
Look, we're talking here about trans women.
And I'm now asking about women born as women.
I don't think there are circumstances there, but...
So it's different for trans women?
Well, yes, and I'm not...
So they're not equal?
That is not... there is a risk assessment process done for trans women that takes account of the nature of the crime. Clearly, significant...
All credit goes to ITV News, just like, you know, this is not our footage.
Concern arises out of sexual crime and whether it's appropriate for them to be in a female prison or a male prison.
First off, a video.
Right. So,
okay.
So, as you laughed your way through that video, as did many others, it was very, very cringeworthy, very satisfying for some people. That's the.
It's just like ridiculous. It's not cringe. It's like ridiculous. That's it.
That's the First Minister of Scotland, of the devolved
First Minister, for the
Scotland.
people who don't know, like I didn't know until I spoke to Peter. First Minister in Scotland is like what we would call our Prime Minister or President or what else is there? I don't know. Prime Minister or President, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's the best way to describe it, because Scotland has two governments. You've got the Scottish government, and as you've alluded to earlier, we've got the RUK government, as we refer to them, the UK government. It's like
Royal United Kingdom government is RUK. Yeah, I'm guessing.
Well, no, it's just whatever. it's just what it's just what we refer to them as. But I would describe it as it's like a Pepsi Max, as opposed to a Pepsi, without giving any product placement or anything like that. It's a very restricted member of the Prime Minister or version of Prime Minister. Because we do have the monarchy still here in Scotland. Which we'll talk about. We can come on to talk about a wee bit later. But I mean, still on the subject of the First Minister and the debacle that she's put herself in. She's went against her own bill. just by the admission that trans women are not indeed women, because you can identify who's not and who is now. So therefore, the bill is an ass, pretty much like herself and our government. They should have been going for independence for 8 years, and instead they have been doing everything but, and calling the general independence supporter all manner of names along the way, only to today trip herself up to the point that she's got to go. She needs to go, in my opinion.
What other issues, should I say, do the Scottish general public have with her?
Well, a lot are still brainwashed to believe that she's acting in good faith. However, a recent video...
Would you say there's like an age divide? Would you say it's like an older generation that believes that? Or is it like irrelevant?
No, there's a... She's got the youth on her side, is the way that I would see it. And then she's got all of the older indoctrinated people that are indoctrinated to believe that everything
from the government, any government is good. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't quite say that. I would say that everything from her lips is better than it is from the UK government's lips, even if they're highlighting the flaws in the Scottish government. Because the first thing that the First Minister does is she blames Westminster. It's a get out of jail free card.
Yeah.
Or in this instance, it's a get out your sex free card, where you can go and you can have rapists in the female prison estate. And there are allegations, and without I wouldn't go as far as to say allegations. There are people that are reporting it as they're attempting it on the prison service for ease of access into general population. So that, oh, well, if we can do it with prisoners, then we can do it with anybody, because nobody bothered about the prisoners. So now we can do it with everybody. And there's a lot of weight getting added to that, with the more and more that people are finding out about it. And the bad faith actors, as I'll say, that tried to introduce all of these things, because a lot of the people that have written about and introducing them into the prison estate, where what's classed as transgender people themselves, there is no definition of trans. So if you can't define something, does it really exist? Again, it's a very strange place to be. But when you look at Canada, Australia, the United States of America, liberalism is becoming a poison.
Yeah, it's the same everywhere. It's like crosses all borders almost. It's just a difference of degrees, you know. Whether it's from Sweden. Where was that ice skating figure skater that we saw the other day? There was something hilarious. Finland. There you go.
Oh, it was a Finnish national, is my understanding.
There you go. No comments. Let's just leave it at that, and the people who are interested can go find it. And I'm sorry, I don't have the video, and even if I did, I probably wouldn't play it. We've been going.
You should watch it.
Yeah. We've been going for about 28 minutes so far. I've got a couple of more questions here for you for this first installment. What other issues do you think people in Scotland have with Sturgeon, other than what you've mentioned so far? If you can list off the top 2-3 things that people in Australia should know that you guys are dealing with, or Canada, or wherever we're watching this
other
from.
than the gender recognition reform bill, the other distractions and that are more worldly distractions are the cost of living crisis. So Scotland has massive potential. It's got great oil reserves. It's got wind power. Yet we pay the highest within the collection of countries that make up our UK, as I refer to them. So Scotland, England, Wales, and the 6 counties in Ireland. we've got the highest prices for electricity and for gas. We also, I don't agree with Trident on the banks of the Clyde. Trident
Trident,
should be...
you're talking about nuclear missiles basically in Scotland on American bases, right?
Yeah, that's correct. In Scotland, at Rosyth, at Faslane. So they're housed here. They're not housed at London. I wonder why.
So if the Russians nuke the UK, they're nuking you, is what you were trying to say.
That's exactly what I'm saying here.
Like they're not gonna hit London first; they're gonna hit you first, and then London.
Yeah. And if you believe Boris Johnson's story that was leaked out today, and again then quickly revoked
I don't know
due
this.
to, where he says that in a telephone call with Vladimir Putin said that he could take him out with a missile in a minute. No, Boris Johnson has lied about absolutely everything. So, why not lie about this? Is what I'm going with that.
I don't know. All right. What can I say? So the nuclear issue is also there. One of the things that I was gonna ask you is how are your heating bills and electricity? Like, do you heat yourself with gas or do you heat yourself with
Well, it's gas and electricity at the moment that we use. The bills are phenomenal. Again, we're
like
the
percentage
highest
wise as opposed to like last year and then the year before that, if you can give a rough estimate percentage wise.
percentage wise. We've had about a 40% increase
In the
on our gas.
price of energy, huh? Over the past
And the
year.
price, and the price of energy. So gas and electricity has risen. Some have had more, almost 100% increase. And again, there was such a thing as you could, with the suppliers, you could sign up to a deal for a fixed term. So those people that no longer have the fixed term are impacted even more because the fixed term would have seen you maybe fixed for 2 or 3 years. So the prices have risen gradually. And then
So it depends on your contract, basically. It depends on your contract. It's not dependent on like your region or the neighborhood or like your building or.
Yeah, it depends on the contract who you've got it with and also the supplier that you're with. So you need to try and get the best deal for yourself. But when we look at European countries, we are way higher than all the European countries as well. And it's when you think of the potential produce that Scotland has for generating wind power and supplying to all of Scotland and other countries that form the home nations of the island.
The Isles, the British Isles.
I'll just say the island. But again, I'm very against that British.
No, I'm new to like. There's that one drawing which has the island and the other island next to you, known as Ireland, and the Isle of Man and a few other things, and they're all circled in different colors, and it has all the names. I'll find the picture. I'll post it on my Telegram channel for people that explains the difference between all the namings for the United Kingdom. Small
Scotland,
U.
Scotland is the oldest country in the United Kingdom. Let's put it that way.
All right, I didn't know that. I didn't know you guys were like an older country, quote unquote, like originally than the English country, quote unquote.
Well, again,
like how back does the Scottish identity, let's say, go as opposed to the English?
Well, again, this will be argued by depending which member.
Everything is argued and arguable.
The union that was formed in 1707 the Treaty of Union. There is things that go back as the Declaration of Arbroath of 1320 and the Claim of Right of 1689 that says that Scotland has the choice in this voluntary union, if they don't like who they're governed by, to change that by majority decision. So there's a lot of Scottish people that are hopeful that we can, by popular sovereignty, change the situation that we find ourselves in.
So you're saying of the Isles, or whatever you want to call all of the different nations under the our UK government, you're the only one who can. You're like the Texas of the UK, basically. You're the only one who can secede.
Well, effectively, yes. Effectively, yes. In Ireland, they can reclaim their 6 counties from the RUK government. In Scotland, we can leave the voluntary Treaty of Union.
Educate us. What are the 6 counties in Ireland?
Oh, I couldn't tell you the names of the 6 counties offhand.
Not the names, just what is it? It's like a geographical location, or?
Yeah, it's a geographical location which the RUK government would term as Northern Ireland.
Okay, okay.
Whereas the Irish
refer to them as the 6 counties.
Well, again, it's probably my being facetious that I refer to them as the 6 counties, because they are a recognised country. And
yeah, but I'm saying, like, that's the other term. I've never heard of the term the 6 counties.
Well, it's only 6 counties in the north of Ireland, north of the island of Ireland.
I understand the humor. Yeah, I get it. I can imagine that the other island has like 16 or 60 counties, whereas one has only 6. I can imagine.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I get the humor.
If you're going to do any investigating, you could investigate the Concora.
What's the Concora?
Child abuse scandal. Again, these are all things that a lot of people don't really know about. It's in days gone by, it was where children born out of wedlock were housed, and there was alleged interference not just by the royal family, but by other nurseries, world nurseries, that kids were
being diddled, or so on or so forth. Let's not anger the algorithm gods, and you dropped enough names to get people curious. They can check out more stuff on your Twitter, which is surprisingly maybe less censored than YouTube. I don't know. We'll see.
At the moment, it is.
Telegram definitely is less censored, although it still happens. Listen, I've got another little question here about the Sturgeon, your first minister. How supportive is she of Ukrainistan? Also known as Banderistan, also known as the former Ukraine, also known as, the area of special military operations.
Yeah, well, she is supportive. I don't know if you heard the First Minister, shortly after the special military operation started, she had suggested that we shouldn't rule out a no-fly zone.
Oh, I think I might have heard that, but I didn't know who it was attributed to. There was many people who said that's such a ridiculous thing.
Well, the Rockefeller rocket did refer to potentially not ruling out a no-fly zone. She has since gone against her party and most of Scotland's demands to rehouse the Trident elsewhere within the island, possibly closer to London.
Trident being the. Do you
The
think
nuclear
there's Russian
warheads.
agents? Do you think there's Russian agents supporting? Like, I just got this like brainstorm question. Do you think there's Russian? Can they blame Scottish independence movement on Russian agents that have provoked you into being more independent seeking because of their threats of nuclear reprisals against our UK government bases?
Well, believe it or not, the former First Minister of Scotland, Alex Salmond, had a programme that was aired on the RT channel. It's produced, my understanding is it was produced in London by Slanty Media.
Don't know of them, but yeah, keep going.
It was produced in London. It was aired on the RT channel, and the minute the special military operation had started, they decided to call everybody Russian agents. However, if we go back to the times of the referendum that Scotland did have
Can
in
I just get a question in here? I want to ask how long has Sturgeon been in power? Because I think I've like known of her forever, and the follow up is the person you mentioned, Salmon. I think the name is. When was that? When was that happening? Like when this whole thing that you're talking about? When was that person in power actually?
Right. So Alex Salmond was in power until the day after the referendum. Well, not the day after the referendum. He announced that he was going to stand down because there was an overall failure on his part to secure independence for Scotland. He had
And
been
the
the first
referendum happened in 14, right? In 2014.
2014. Yeah, he had been the first minister for 7 years. So for 2007, almost 8 years. So it might have been 2006
Okay.
to 2014. That he was the first minister of Scotland. Nicola Sturgeon was his deputy first minister. She stepped in.
That's maybe why I know of her from
Yeah,
before.
Alex Salmond championed Nicola Sturgeon to become the first minister on his stepping down. She was voted in as first minister in 2014. 2015 may well have been. So she's been first minister from then. There was then a general election where she returned 56 out of 59 MPs in Scotland, an overall majority, which by right should have been the catalyst for Scotland becoming an independent country. But she said in the run-up to that election that a vote for Nicola Sturgeon and a vote for the SNP was not a vote for Scottish independence, strangely enough. And she's held her word since then, even though the one supportive newspaper in Scotland or one alleged supporter newspaper in Scotland of Scottish independence, it's a Nicola Sturgeon fan page, really. The National has floated the idea of there being a referendum every year since. We're going for it this year. We're going for it, and again, it's
Why
only
not?
by mention. Like it's just to fend off the unrest that is growing within Scotland before the brainwashing had started. When she started to appear on television every day when the lockdown had started in 2019, to brainwash everybody through fear of COVID, then to brainwash everybody into getting taking the inoculations that were supposed to prevent transmission of said virus.
We'll get into that. We'll get into that in the future segments with the
Okay.
World Health Organization, the Economic Forum, Serbia, Novak Djokovic, and Donbass to come in future episodes. But as a last question to finish this up, how do you feel about the new king, so to say? What is your opinion of the monarchy, like as it is now compared to how it was now, both in the public image and in your personal view of like,
The public image,
what do you feel?
Right. Well, I'll give you what I perceive to be the public image of Scotland. The majority of people would rather abolish the monarchy.
Do you have any like descendants of Scottish kings? Did you guys have kings? You had kings. Do you have any descendants that are alive? Is there like a Scottish monarchy movement?
Well, I don't think there is a Scottish monarchy movement. There
All
are
right.
rumours that the last
So
monarch,
if you went independent, you'd be a democracy.
yes,
Find
probably
some
a
oil and
republic.
tell the Americans. That's all I can tell you. Find some oil and call the Americans, man.
Oh, we've got plenty of oil, and the Americans are all over it.
I know.
Already.
That's why I said that.
Yeah,
You need some
so
democracy, man. You need some
yeah,
democracy.
we definitely need some democracy. But again, that's just a figment of people's imagination. It's just a word that's thrown out to try and appease people.
Exactly.
Um,
Tell
we need,
us more about your view and the people's views.
the people's view, I believe, in Scotland is that the monarchy is past its sell-by date. The new monarch, or the person who is going to be the new monarch, I believe that a lot of people don't necessarily agree. He wasn't elected. There was no election or anything. Who made him the new monarch? It's just by birthright, and I think that's all past. My personal opinion is I'm not a subject of any monarchy. I'm a free man. I'm a sovereign Scot. I was born in Scotland. I'll probably die in Scotland. Depending on what I say, it might be a lot sooner than I anticipate. However, I'm Scottish. I'm as Scottish as they come. Is the way that I'll put it.
I don't think dying sooner than depending on what you say can be attributed only to like people in Scotland. I think that's a worldwide phenomenon these days. That
It's a very worldwide phenomenon, given the fact that I don't know if you've seen the latest news that Pfizer have started to remove some of their stocks from the stock market, their shares from the stock market. They're delisting some of them up to 25. Wonder why the reason for that is. I don't know if Project Veritas has got something to do with that. But anyway, we can come on to that in more depth a wee bit later. But as for the monarchy, it's not my king.
Understand you.
Um,
there's a lot of English people who feel the same way. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's Welsh people too.
Yeah, there was some Welsh chap who lobbed 6 eggs at the new monarch, the prospective new monarch, when he was, because he was the former Prince of Wales, so he was doing a tour, and it was a Welsh person that threw, and was subsequently charged. I don't know what they were charged with. I think it was a public order offence or something like that they were eventually charged with. So yeah,
I don't know. The UK has
a...
all kinds of laws. The UK has all kinds of like scary fucking laws. Honestly, like a long time ago, long time ago, like maybe 15, 20 years ago, I decided that I'm never going to the UK. Like to London itself, especially, but generally the UK, like no thanks. Like on top of the police state, like then, you know what I mean? Plus the laws that can be twisted and interpreted in like all kinds of ways, plus the fact that I'm not even a subject if I come. So it's like if I do anything, I do it against the subject as like just a foreigner, just a human, not even a subject, you know, in British law. So like no thanks. No thanks. Like you guys can sort it out amongst yourselves.
Since Brexit, there's not a lot going in your favour. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot before then, but since Brexit, there's even less.
For foreigners, you're saying in the UK.
Sorry?
You're saying for foreigners living in the UK or visiting the UK, basically.
Look, for both, for people that are coming to visit as just for the sake of visiting, and for people who are coming here to settle. It's more strict than ever, unless you're from, what was it you called it, Ukrainistan? They're opening. They're
I
opening
was
up
consider when you
their
said, as soon
homes.
as you said people coming here, I was going to ask about refugees, both Ukrainistani and Afghanistani and the other kinds of refugees that are coming by boat into England. Do they come up as far as Scotland? Like
No,
the Arab and Talibani type migrants from France? Do
they
you see
might get
migrants
housed.
of that sort on your on the streets?
They might get housed here. They well, they're. I need to be very careful here. Well,
It's a comedy show. Don't worry about it. It's a comedy show. Everything is satire. Nothing is real. Any resemblance to reality is coincidental. Keep going.
It's merely coincidental. Well, they're housed here, waiting on getting potentially shipped back to Rwanda or shipped to Rwanda. They get dispersed all over.
So even in Scotland, even in Scotland, they're getting shipped to Rwanda, because I heard about the Rwanda story, but I thought it was only from England. So from Scotland too, as well, huh?
Well,
Like
it's again
it's UK wide.
this is where we come into the two governments situation. They will put people. They'll ship them to different parts. Ship them is not the right word. They'll bus them to different parts of the island. Whereas the Scottish people are more apathetic
To
in
the
a whole
idea, to the plight.
to people that are coming, because if you have a look at the former empire, British Empire, and the way it was, the way it became an empire through force, lies, and deceit. Well, the Scottish people suffer that on the same island. So we are more
like the Eddie Izzard skit about the flags. You know how the British conquered the world and just came and showed people flags, and they were like, "Oh, you have a country? Yeah. Do you have a flag? No. Oh, well, here's a flag. You're now called." That's how they tricked the whole world, basically.
That's how they made their empire. Again, the smoke and mirrors approach. So there's the flag there. The butcher's apron is many Scottish people call it. Scottish independence supporters particularly
The
call it.
butcher's apron, huh?
Yeah, because if you
The
look
Jack
at it,
you're talking about, huh?
yeah,
Union Jack.
It's like the bastardised the Scottish flag into it. They've got the George Cross, which I believe they took from.
Oh, okay.
Another.
So like you're saying, like the red on the blue, because the blue is the background of the British flag, and it comes from the Scottish, and it's soiled by the butchers, the English butchers and the Welsh, with their red on your flag, basically.
Pretty much, that's pretty much it.
Sounds legit.
It's and again, the butcher's apron is like, I think the term is more for the blood that was shed on the flag as well, or under the guise of the flag. As you say, when the empire, they went, "Oh, you've not got a flag? Oh, here, have this one." Well, we take all these. Well, we take all your worldly goods and sell them off, or take them back to the monarch of the times, and proclaim that, oh yeah, we're doing this for a cultural exchange. You have this flag now.
We're building you railways. We're building you railways.
To take everything out. Yes, that's it. Pretty much how it went.
Railways, man. It's technology. No, seriously, on that bombshell with the butcher's apron, I think we're going to end it here. To all the viewers, don't forget to subscribe to both my channel and Peter's channel. This has been The Working Brother with Tweet Street Scotland and Cinnamon Bridges, also known as Peter. I had to check the Cinnamon Bridges part. Peter, anything to say for the end of this?
Oh no, just thanks to everybody that's tuning in, and the links will be provided along with the clip
with the post somewhere. You'll find them. If you try, you'll find them.
Yeah, it's not hard.
All right.
Thanks very much for tuning in, folks.
Thank you. Let's take it out with some music. All right, everyone. Like, share, subscribe. Goodbye. Have a good one.